I'm Raja Davis from Body Wise Mind, and I have Victoria. Victoria and I work together about changing a few things in our life. So this discussion is about what is it that she wanted to change and what things have changed. So I'd like to welcome Victoria.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time today in explaining what is this work and how that has changed for you. So to start with, Victoria, what is it that made you connect with me? Because my work is not talk therapy. It's a bit deeper than the talk therapy.
I think an important part of it was the rapport that we did have before we started. Mm-hmm. Because as well as being my SMGI guide, Raji is also my yoga instructor. And I particularly liked the way that Raji balanced traditional Eastern philosophies and yoga practice with what modern science understands to be true, and explained both of those things in a meritorious way, so that built my confidence. I knew, and Raji could identify, that I was dealing with a fair amount of anxiety and overwhelm, and that is how I decided to pursue SMGI, to see if I could shift some of those things as an alternative to psychology, which I had pursued before, which is really great for getting an understanding of the mechanisms in the brain and in the body. But I thought I needed something more, something not just to understand them, rationalize them, and cognitively deal with them, but to process them on an emotional level and resolve them in a way. So
and perhaps process them at a physical level too, because trauma is held in the body, not only in the mind.
I had read and heard a lot of that, so I was very interested in what that meant and what that would look like. Yeah. I thought there would be a strong physical component to SMGI, and I was surprised to find that there wasn't a movement. There wasn't a whole lot of movement involved.
Okay. This is going to be an interesting discussion, because when we say trauma is held in the body, and people think releasing the trauma means the movements. The way SMGI works is, because the first word in SMGI is somatic, right? Somatic is soma, your body. Mm-hmm. If you look into any of these sessions, how we connected to it is the sensations in the body.
Yeah.
So we connect the sensation in the body, the discomfort in the body, to what it is connected to, and then we work with that. So.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. It's just I've researched on YouTube, type in somatic exercise or somatic movement, and it's all very movement based. Yeah, so my idea of somatic was that it requires your body to move in order for the body to be working. Not the case at all. I appreciate that now.
That also works, but it works in a general way. Any movement is releasing sort of a held one, but it's just not releasing at the deeper level of that specific memory or the specific incident or accumulative of the specific cities, which has brought that tension held in your chest or in your body. Somatic movements help. It's like exercising in your way where you release, and then the next time you pass through the same smell or pass through the same color, your memory immediately subconsciously connects to that. You don't even know you're reacting to it, but because the memory is still held, you are reacting to it. Mm-hmm. This work is not as dramatic as moving something to release it, but it's a very, very gentle way. That's why I love this method. In a very gentle way, you connect to that discomfort that you feel, and then we connect it to the memory, which builds that kind of a discomfort. It could be one memory, it could be a childhood memory where I don't deserve anything, which got multiplied over the years, So it skips all that and goes to the root cause of the base of that, and then shifts that. And then you feel that release in the body.
Yeah.
In SMGI, you feel it, physically you feel that release, and you know that it's been processed, it's been digested, it's been released, or it has been integrated. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, how certain words we think it a certain way, but soma means it's body. So whether you move your body to release it, or whether you connect to the body and its sensation to release it, it's a different way of connecting to the body. So Victoria, let's take it in two different parts. Yeah. The one part is the changes that you wanted to bring in your life, and what changes did you get after our work together. And the second part is that as you identify yourself at ADHD, what are the criteria that has fundamentally changed for you in that sphere? Shall we do it that way? It's two words. Okay. So let's go into the first part of the changes that you wanted to make in life. If I list through the changes from your initial questionnaire and your desire, what you wanted to change, and if we take one by one and run through what has changed and what has not changed. Shall we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I have a question like, what would you like to accomplish out of our work together? And the first one is self-improvement and better understanding of myself. How do you think that has shifted or changed?
It's quite interesting because I came into SMGI without terribly many expectations. I'd read about it, but I really couldn't visualize or imagine what it was going to be like. So I thought that, okay, I'm overwhelmed, I'm frazzled, I have strong emotional responses, poor self-regulation skills, and that's what I want to work on. And I was confronted with this question of what you want to achieve. And I actually found it to be a very profound question, because in a state of overwhelm, there's not really much time for self-reflection, for thought, for putting your needs first. So it was quite challenging to identify what I wanted, really, in general from life, not just from SMGI, but just for me. And you spoke specifically about, what was it here? The
better understanding of myself. Yeah.
It's a kind of vague statement. I knew that in my overwhelm, I was functioning on autopilot. I was probably in a constant state of fight or flight, and I kind of had lost myself in that. So I definitely wanted to resolve some of those things so I could be myself, my whole self, kind of that reaching potential sort of thing. And I guess a self-improvement part in that regard as well, where just to achieve some level of personal growth. I did not quantify it in any way. I didn't have any strong expectations of it in any way. But I thought that if I come out of this with a little bit more insight as to what's going on with me and how I can fix it, that would be great.
That's a starting line, and then you went into the specifics. You asked for less reactive.
Yeah.
So are you less reactive now?
Significantly.
Significantly. More grounded you asked for.
Yeah.
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 More self-aware you asked for.
Yes.
Yes. Better emotional regulation.
Yeah. Immediately after the first or second session, one thing I noticed that had instantly shifted was that I would take any feedback as a personal criticism or even an attack. Even when on a cerebral level, I knew that someone else was lashing out because of their own frustration and it wasn't directed at me in any way. Emotionally, I was internalizing it. I was carrying that. It was affecting my mood. It was affecting my performance at work. I felt I had to be on eggshells around everyone. I felt I had to be a people pleaser. And after my first or second session, that sort of situation happened again where someone was on edge over something that had nothing to do with me. They addressed me in a way which would have previously been upsetting and it wasn't, no, not only did I not internalize it, I flipped it back on them and they just responded with grace and understanding and empathy for them, because they're going through something which is causing them to react in this way. And then we talk about the introception, the understanding oneself better, and those sorts of things. And I was able to walk away from that confrontation and go and have that moment of self-reflection and joy of, that's a really good way to handle this.
How so beautiful.
It really was. It really was nice.
So touching, yeah. And another one you asked is more energy for exercise.
That took a while. That didn't happen after the first session.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I've noticed. This is honestly kind of embarrassing, and I probably wouldn't have said it out loud sooner. But I would come back from a day of work, and I would either go down for a nap immediately, or I would kind of get through the compulsory evening chores of feeding your kids and having them have showers and read them a story, and I would pass out in bed after story time with my 2 kids. I was unable to, I did not have the strength to get up, to usher them into their own beds, and to return to household just life, whether it be, you know, cleaning the dishes after the dinner that I had made or doing anything. I was just out for the night. I'm now enjoying my evenings.
You're going for swimming and you've got the yoga classes.
Yes,
I'm very happy about it.
I'm swimming 3 times a week. I'm consistently walking my dog. I'm interacting with my husband because I'm not asleep. And that wasn't a sudden shift. That was something that did come with time, but it's been very enjoyable.
Yeah, and then discipline around food.
Yeah, that happened. That was really weird. That was just see, I would have argued that I had been disciplined around food because I've been on some sort of health kick or another for the past probably 2 years, non-stop, where I would count macros or count calories or do something. And then one day, 3 weeks ago, I got out of bed, I selected a different breakfast to what I normally would have, and I've consistently been eating well since, feeling good. I'm sure that's contributed to the increase in energy.
Yes.
And those choices, they haven't been willpower, and they haven't been discipline, and they haven't been forced, and they've just been very intuitive.
Yeah, and if I remember, the intuitiveness has come now because of what specifically in one of the sessions related to the food that you released.
Yeah.
You didn't even, before going into the session, you didn't even think, wow, that could have been connected to food, you know? But it's something to do with the emotions that was released.
I think I knew I was eating emotionally. I just wasn't able to identify which emotions I was eating.
And then that journey really changed how you look at food and how you change. It's beautiful. And the last one, not last one, we've got a few more. Social media habits you wanted to kick. How much have you kicked?
Significantly. Unfortunately, my job doesn't allow me to not be on social media at all. But the doom scrolling has stopped, so that's great. I've gotten some of my time back, and you know, there's never enough of that.
And you wanted to have more friends.
Yeah. It's hard making friends as an adult. I think that's kind of a commonly held belief. Look, small steps have been made to extend my social circles, and efforts have been made to kind of make more effort to reignite old friendships. And maybe we can come back to that bit when we talk about the ADHD part.
Yes.
I don't know if you want me to talk about it now.
As a part of a change in friendship, probably a person with whom you may not have been a friend before you were critical about, as actually the relationship has changed.
Possibly. I was going to head in a different direction. Maintaining friendships has always been very challenging for me because they are work, and that hasn't changed entirely. Raja can confirm that I will sometimes forget to respond to an SMS. However, the anxiety around that would have caused rifts in friendships. If I didn't get on it immediately, there would be some sort of embarrassed, avoidant behavior, and then it would be so much time that it's like, well, it really would not be appropriate to reach out to this friend now, and how do I explain to them that I've ignored them for days and weeks and months? And I would probably allow friendships to disintegrate like that. And I have kind of pulled my finger out, I suppose, and made the effort to reach out to friends who I still consider to be close friends, who I hadn't spoken to for a while, and going forward I plan on maintaining those friendships. And I don't think that I will be more consistent in keeping in touch with them for various reasons, including different time zones and those sorts of things. But I do think that the anxiety over, oh, it's been too long, I really shouldn't, they're going to be upset with me, I think that's gone. Yeah, I think that self-talk is not going to be back.
Yeah, beautiful. So I'm going to finish with the last one, which is, it's even for me when I read it, it's so funny how much you have changed, but then it'll be good how you put it across. There was a question asking, you didn't want this desired outcomes because subconsciously you had certain belief systems which had stopped you to go for your desired outcomes, and one of that is, it will come at too great of a cost to my children.
Yeah.
Wow, do you still feel that way?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that coming into SMGI, I was apprehensive that I might become so zen, so disconnected from reality, so in touch with, I don't know, a higher power or an internal power or whatever, so committed to my own self-care and self-preservation and self-improvement that there would be no space for anyone else in that. Which, saying it out loud now, is so wildly irrational. Any psychologist will tell you that you have to put the mask on yourself before you put the mask on your children. So if you're not well, no one else is going to be well. But this has only come with positive improvements to all of my relationships, including my children. I'm more available to them. I'm more patient with them. Yeah, that's silly.
And you also thought it was selfish.
I did. I absolutely thought it was selfish. Yeah. I think that's because I have no struggle disclosing this. I do have one child with disability, and the feeling is that 100% of my resources need to be put into that. And I wanted him to do SMGI. I didn't, if someone's going to have it, if there's budget for one person to do it, it should be him. And I'm glad that Raji convinced me that it really shouldn't.
Because you need to take care of yourself before you can take care of your child. So, and you believed it requires effort and resource I don't have.
Yeah, I thought there would be a lot of, again, going back to the physical part, that you would send me home with homework. You need to perform these exercises, or that it would be like cerebral homework. You need to say these affirmations in a mirror, and I'm really bad at doing anything with any level of consistency. There's a period where it's novel and fun, and I will do it, and then it'll become commonplace, and I'll get bored and I'll stop doing it. So I did not think that I would be able to do that. And my day is so chock-a-block, and if you consider also that I was struggling to stay awake even in the evening, I really thought I would fail. I really thought that if there is any homework component to this, that I'm going to fail.
Yeah. So there's absolutely no effort.
No, there's no failure is not an option. There's no win-lose scenario.
And there's no effort, there's no win-lose, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's difficult for people to believe, how can you achieve something without effort? Because the world has been, or we have been conditioned that you have to work hard to achieve something.
Yeah.
This is completely a different way of working with your subconscious in such a gentle, effortless way, I would say.
Yeah.
And you're only connecting to your sensations in the body, somatically,
And you only achieve as much as you are prepared to achieve. So in that way, you can neither over nor underexert yourself. And then you have that level of self-awareness to go, okay, so I was able to achieve this much and I'm still hanging on to that, and that's something to do for later. And there's just this broad acceptance around it. It's not like getting a test result and it's like, oh, I was this many points off. It's very much a constructive self-feedback of this is where I'm at.
Yeah, beautiful.
With just no judgment.
And I will disappoint my family was with one of your fears.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
Isn't it? All these fears that we hold, and it'll be too hard to explain was another one of your fears.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of it. I'm just not going to explain it. if someone's not ready,
yeah,
you know, that's actually been another thing. Having a very impulsive and outgoing personality comes with such caveats as it's really easy to rope me into a debate or an argument. And there was a family dinner and a political subject was raised, and it was raised with very much the intention of riling me up. And I completely deflected. Completely. It was like, oh, you have such and such beliefs, and we have, you know, we sit on the other spectrum, the side of the political spectrum, and we're going to get you into a disagreement. And I'm like, no.
It's not worth that.
No.
Effort at that point.
It's not the appropriate place for it either.
For it.
And
exactly.
also, I did not feel that I have to defend my beliefs to anybody.
Beautiful.
So I did not need to engage in that conversation. I know what I think, I know what my values are, and
it's such a level of self-confidence and self-assurance of who you are.
I didn't take the bait. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
So similarly, I would not force SMGI upon anyone who wasn't prepared to hear it.
Yes.
I think.
So
rather
there is
than,
no fear that it's hard to explain at the moment.
No.
Yeah, that's gone. So
I would just refrain from explaining it to someone who's not ready to hear.
To be open or curious.
Because I don't need to defend my own convictions. I don't need to defend my own beliefs. It's worked for me. I know it can work for someone else, but only if they're open to it, and that's fine.
It's so, you know what, it's normal in life to have these fears.
No.
What if I change? That means what I know, everything around me, what it changes, that unknown is so scary to go in first. And another fear is, what if I lose everything that I have because I've changed?
Yeah.
Exactly, your first one, like, it'll be too great a cost to my children.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is
such a fundamental belief.
It's like fundamental fear as well.
It keeps people in bad behaviours. It keeps people in addiction. It keeps people in certain mental states. I don't know.
Because the unknown of what it could be. Otherwise, it's too big an unknown to take a chance.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why, even though we discussed only 2 of the questions, most of the things about SMGI is first to clarify your desire.
Yeah.
So once your desire for what you want to achieve becomes so strong, then we can work with all these fears. It's so easy. Oh, it was wonderful to hear. It was such a honor, Victoria, to work with you. And working with someone is, it's both ways. It's not only you, because every journey you go through, something in me shifts.
Okay.
Yeah, because our consciousness, subconsciousness at some point is like that, like 2 circles coming together there. So there's an exchange that is happening. And it's interesting, all the people come to work with me are some aspects of something that I've experienced in my life or I need to work on in my life.
Okay.
So it's a bonus.
Do you want to share what it was that
Yeah, I have to come a little bit prepared for that, listing it down, but after each journey, I reflect on it.
Yeah.
Okay, that is interesting. So something else for me connects and thinks, So, yeah, I would love to do another interview on that. What is my take on each one? So I have to take a list of notes on all of that.
Okay.
So with that, Victoria, what if we go into the second part of this discussion? You identify yourself as ADHD.
Yes.
ADHD has got 3 fundamental parts to it, is it? The way you say it's attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is because, 1, there is an impulsivity part. There is an inattention part or a hyperactivity part. Yeah. So if we go through each one of that at the high level, not into each one, and if you could help, what has actually shifted for you in that criteria. So the impulsivity wise, the reason I'm asking is I went to a meeting the other day and this lady was sitting there in a thing, and then for everything the speaker was saying, she's putting her hand up and saying, I've got ADHD, I can't stop not asking these questions, I want to be answered. And she openly says, I've got ADHD, so listen to me, I'm impulsive. You need to answer to me, you need to react to me. And I thought, well, this is funny, because from that to something else, I've come into a much calmer state. So I want to understand what has.
I'm sure you've observed the same with me. After our yoga classes, we sit down and we have tea together. And I feel that prior to doing SMGI, I was doing a lot of the talking at those teas. And since doing SMGI, I think I'm able to do a little bit more listening. So there's definitely that aspect. I think one thing that gave me a lot of clarity is what that impulsivity means, because raising your hands and having to interject, and you have a thought or a related idea and you have to express it immediately, is very obviously impulsive. Impulsive behaviors are, I just want to go for a run, so I'm going to go, and there's no thought or planning or consideration of consequences. You kind of just do what you want to do. I realized that there was a lot of impulsivity in the other things I was doing. My emotional responses, my internalizing of, as I mentioned before, the throwaway comments that were not directed at me. I believe that was very impulsive. So this self-awareness of where that impulsivity shows up is something that changed. A greater awareness of it. Is the first thing, and I don't think it's gone. I think very much the impulsive thoughts are still there. They're just not vying for attention as much. It's not a conscious and effortful suppression of impulses. It's just this acknowledging that, oh, you've had a thought. Literally, and that's it, and it's my thought to have. I don't need to share it with the forum. I do not need to act upon it immediately, and then so that buys me the time to go, is this actually an impulse that deserves to be pursued or not? And if it's a great idea that I've had for something to do at work, then I can, to an extent, plan it out, consider how it should happen, how to do the thing, essentially. Or I can give it that time and that space and go, it was a thought that you had, it was an idea that you had, and that's okay too. It doesn't all have to be valuable. It doesn't all have to be shared with the group. It doesn't all have to be pursued. You don't have to be all things to all people all the time, doing all of the things, because
the word
it's not
that comes to me, Victoria, is effortless way.
Yeah.
If I put everything that you said to one word, it's effortless, because there is a way in which you can work with impulsivity as a behavior change and work on cognitively understanding, slowing down, or breathing, or even though I teach breathing in yoga, breathing, a different way of tools and techniques as one way of addressing that impulsivity. Whereas the work with SMGI, what we have done is we hadn't looked at it as a behavior change, as a tools and techniques.
Yeah.
It's in a subconscious way, you dived into it and you cleared the things, and the way you perceive the world is different, so the way you respond to the world now is different. So it's so effortless, like you said, consciously you're not trying to control or manage your impulsivity.
What I learned from you, but what I had also learned earlier elsewhere is, and you're going to have to fill me in to make this technically accurate, but we have behaviors which are dictated by our feelings, which are dictated by our emotions, which are dictated in terms by our beliefs and values, right? There's this
There's one more level we work on.
Yes.
There are behaviors which are informed by your values. The values are informed by beliefs, or beliefs or values either inform your behavior. And then we go a bit deeper than that, which is called your cognitive awareness or perception. How you perceive the world is how all this gets its informed. So instead of working on the behavior as a tools and techniques, and instead of working on your beliefs or values, you're allowed to have all of that. Let's go and look at how do you perceive the world. And is there a way to change the way you perceive the world, so the way you respond is. So we dived much, much deeper than all those layers. So what you said is exactly right. There's no technically right or wrong. It's just the way we understand and how we perceive. But
that's exactly what happened in traditional therapies with psychologists, with OTs, with counselors. It's all very much on, okay, well, here are the behaviors. These are the ones you want to change. Here are some strategies on how you can change them. People read the book Atomic Habits and about habit stacking. And well, if you want to start exercising in the morning and you're already brushing your teeth every morning, just start exercising immediately after. Which is good. If it works, if that's something you can do, if that's accessible to you, then great. You would have to hold a shotgun to my head to make me exercise after I've brushed my teeth. It's not going to happen. It's not it's not even worth the conversation. The question was, where deep down, fundamentally at the core of who you are, your beliefs, your values, your lived experience and everything that you've grown up with, is that thing that's telling you you don't want to, or you can't, or you shouldn't exercise. It's addressing that.
Mainly you can't, or there's because of your experience.
Whatever it is, sensory discomfort, which it would be for me, because I can't imagine exercising in my home. I'd get too gross and sweaty. Not the point. That's way too personal for the needs of the conversation. It has to be elsewhere, which means it has to be at a different time, and it's not habit stacking. That's actually been really interesting. I always thought that if I was going to exercise, it would have to be regimented, and I would have to do it in a certain way at a certain time, because otherwise I wouldn't be consistent. And yesterday I got up in the morning and I'm like, I really just want to sleep for half an hour longer. And I did. And I came back from work, and because I had this energy, it's like, you know what? I've kind of done what I need to do. I'm going to go for a swim. I've never had an afternoon swim before in my life. It's always been a morning activity for me.
So it's beautiful. One of the words come to me is effortless, because you're not changing other tools and techniques and regimental way of how to handle it. You change to
it's an inside out, not an outside in change.
And when the inside out comes, now you're more listening to your body. Because your body felt you wanted extra sleep, you slept. Your body felt, I've got this energy.
And there's no guilt. There's no guilt. If I had chosen to go and sleep for half an hour instead of getting up and going for a swim, I would be kicking myself all day. Oh, you're not going to get your 3 swims this week. You failed. You're not being consistent. You're not achieving your goal. Stop it!
You still got your swim. That's the part of it, isn't it?
I did, and I got the sleep. So that's self-care. If I'm going to function as a zombie all day on principle, what's the benefit in that?
Thank you.
It's been nice. It's just been nice being nice to yourself.
I think that's a self-compassion part of it. We all give compassion to others a lot than the compassion that we give to ourselves.
You go to work and your colleague would go, oh, I was so tired, I didn't have a swim this morning. You deserve a sleep in. You've been working hard. You've had all these things going on. You never say that to yourself.
No, you do.
No, I do.
Yeah. You don't even have to.
I don't even have to. It's not a conversation.
It's not a conversation. You don't have to, because you live that way.
Which has freed up so much mental space. You're probably going to want to talk about the ADHD part again. The next part is going to be the hyperactivity.
Okay, let's go with hyperactivity.
The hyperactivity for me was very much an in my head sort of thing, a constant barrage of things competing for attention, the lyrics or the melody of a song, something someone said yesterday, a shopping list of things that I need to get done, remembering a conversation from 3 weeks ago that was upsetting, and it's just voices. Like, there were times in my ADHD that I thought I may be schizophrenic because there's too many people living in my head. And now most of them I just don't need to pay attention to, and some of them, as a result, have just gone away. The songs are still
Would you
there on loop.
allow me to use the word integrated? Because
I would.
one of the works that we do in SMGI is the integration of these parts, because our central core is our central self, our essence, but then there are different parts. One part is critical, one part is happy, one part is depressed, the other parts jump over things, And in each session we worked and integrated these parts, so the energy got more consolidated and centralized to your central self. And now you're working, living from that central self, not these parts taking it over. So it's more a sort of an integration work. That's what is SMGI from my point of view, how I'm explaining, but then it makes total sense in how you explained it. Wow, this many parts are in my head and taking that energy out of me.
And they're all parts of me. So I think integrated is a good word. They're still there.
Yeah.
That ability to fixate on a song or recall some sort of memory or I don't know, think about things that I need to do. It's all still there. It's just organized and manageable. There's not this panic of I need to be giving all these things, all this attention all of the time, because if I'm not doing it, I'm going to forget something. I'm going to drop the ball on something. I can't really explain where it went or how, because again, it was effortless. It just kind of happened all on its own. But it has resulted in this kind of calm confidence, and it actually relates back to the impulsivity part, because the way I see that it relates is by not having the constant voices, and a lot of those voices are over-analytical, self-criticizing voices, where I mentioned that a lot of the impulsivity is gone. I don't have to share every thought with the group. I don't have to constantly be acting upon whatever impulse. But I can also acknowledge the impulses that are perfectly fine that I would have otherwise suppressed. So I was in a meeting, which was not a work-related meeting, which was very informal, and it was not inappropriate for me to shift positions, which initially meant moving from one place to another because I was uncomfortable, because I was overstimulated. But then ultimately, just with this, again, grace and acceptance of myself going, I just want to be sitting on the floor. And there wasn't this, oh my God, what are people going to think of you? As you get up the couch, it's going to make all these creaking noises. It's going to be so weird. You're going to be the only person sitting on the floor. You're a grown woman who sits on the floor when they're a grown adult. And all those thoughts were just, they were kind of there, but it was also like, no one's going to notice. In 30 seconds, no one's going to remember that the couch creaked. Just sit on the floor. It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
So, it's not this kind of thing where I'm no longer neurodivergent. There's still that sensory need to be comfortable, grounded, connected, what have you, because that's what I get from sitting on the floor. I'm very much a floor-seating person. But there's just this, the voices that are constantly telling you that you're doing the wrong thing. They're just gone. Yeah. They just don't need to be there.
Also, you didn't put your hand up and say, I'm neurodivergent, this is not good for me, I have to sit in the flow.
Yeah.
You can call an attention to yourself and make a rattle of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is this grace, as you said, the word that you used is grace, and the confidence. Very quietly you did it. And
the confidence that I don't need to explain myself to myself or to anyone else.
Yeah. And
this is what I need. It's not inappropriate.
And you
I wouldn't do it in a business meeting.
But also you didn't defend yourself or project yourself. I think that's the huge difference.
I didn't need to defend myself. I wasn't under attack.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
By anyone's opinions or even my own. So it was really nice.
So it was just listening to your body, and then you shifted the position, thinking, okay, in that meeting, it's okay for me to go and sit on the floor. But then there could be another business meeting in which you may not do it.
But then the flow and effect of the clarity in the mind again, it's like I'm comfortable now. So the whole ordeal lasted, 30 seconds in my head going, I'm uncomfortable, I really want to be sitting on the floor. What are people going to think? You know what? Who cares? I'm on the floor. If I'd stayed in this chair, I would not have heard a single word of that meeting. because the couch was sweaty, I was uncomfortable, my left butt cheek is going to sleep. I don't want to move because every time I move, the couch is creaking. Like, just the constant barrage, and people are listening to you. You're really distracting to everyone else. Why can't you just focus on what's being said? Yeah, the barrage of thoughts is gone.
So would you say in general the hyperactivity, the way you work on that is completely shifted, and it's effortless, right? It's not a cognitive, I have to work on that behavior.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental deeper shift, and then absolutely you, as you said, the word is more grace, the way you work with it.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one in which they go about ADHD is inattention. Is that something that affected you before, or is there any change in the way you focus your attention?
I think that's very related to what I just said. The inattention as it was exhibited within me was, I'm so distracted by other things that I can't give attention to this. Yeah. And now by being able to identify why I'm being distracted and address it in a way that's appropriate, has allowed me to be more attentive.
And more focused.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing this, Victoria. It's one, the word is I'm honored to work with you. Another word is this deep gratitude, because the work together has helped unpack so many things. There's a way the world thinks needs to happen, but there are some alternate ways too. There are different pathways. Like in yoga, I say the sun's rays, different rays, but it goes to the same sun. So the way you explain how this has helped you in your life, I'm sure if there are people which it reaches, they might want to explore this work too, in an effortless, easy, fun way. Can I use the word fun? Yeah. We did have some fun.
We did have fun.
So
there were a lot of tears, but it was a
lot of fun too. But it was such fun to release those tears.
This is self-exploration. It was really fun. It was fun.
Wonderful. Thank you, Victoria. Is there anything you would like to say to make this complete for today?
I would.
Yeah.
I just want to say that my experiences have been mine. The way that SMGI has impacted me, I think it would be very unwise for anyone to think this is prescriptive and this is what it's going to do for me. I don't think, however, that means it's not worth doing. It will work for you in the way that it needs to work for you, because I think what is crucial is that the work is being done by you, very intuitively. Raji's role is that of a guide who prompts this kind of, whether you want to call it a journey of self-discovery or whatever it is, but she just leads you on the way. It's very much driven and directed by your intuition, what your body is feeling, how that's connected to thoughts, past experiences, memory, what have you, and addressing it that way. So whatever it's going to be, it's going to be your own experience and your own journey.
Absolutely, because I haven't come across any journey in a prescriptive way for anyone. Every journey is so unique. I'm so glad you talked about it. I'm so glad you talked about it. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you so much, Raji.